Would you like to know what is the best sleeping position to lose belly fat? If your answer is yes, then please stay tuned and keep watching because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Hey, welcome to BetterSlimmerYou.com. I'm Lisa, and in my previous videos, I already touched upon the subject of sleeping and how important it is. The quality of your sleep is super important for your overall health, not just your body, but also getting good sleep equals a better and slimmer you. So basically, getting a good night's sleep is the key to having a slimmer, toned, nicer body, and of course flatter abs as a result of that. I know a lot of people focus on diets and nutrition and different meal plans or whatnot. They try to improve their eating and this and that, and then of course they exercise regularly, or at least they're aware of exercising regularly, and then they do different workouts, and it's all good. Don't get me wrong, it's all awesome. And absolutely, that's exactly what you should be focusing on and what you should be doing, especially if you want to be in a ship shape and if you want your body to look nice and feel great and have like tons of energy and ultimately burn fat while sleeping. That's another thing, because if you have a nice and toned body, essentially what it's gonna do, it's gonna start burning fat in your sleep. So the more muscle mass you have, which is the muscle tone, the more your body will do all the work for you while you're sleeping. But the quality of sleep is very important, and you falling asleep is also plays a big role, a big part in this entire health and fitness game. And some people tend to struggle with that. I am no exception. Sometimes I go through my phases where I start getting insomnia, and you guys know that if it's like 2 a.m. and I'm replying to your comments right away, you better know that like I am being a night owl, and it's not good. And I also work on getting my sleep back on track, especially the quarantine doesn't really help with that either, but we are going to do the best that we can. So with that being said, if you are eating well and exercising but your sleep sucks, I'm pretty sure you've noticed before you are not seeing that great of like a result as much as you were hoping for. You're thinking, oh my gosh, like I'm training so hard and I'm eating so clean, why am I not seeing the inches disappear, or the weight is still like my body's holding on to like water weight, so like I don't see the scale number moving at all. It's just like no matter what I'm doing, no matter how much hard work I'm putting into this thing, I don't see results. Or some of you might hit a plateau where again, like you're exercising and doing everything right, but then you're just like stuck on this same level and you can't really move. You can't make any progress. You have to check your sleep, because again, if you're exercising regularly and then you eat correctly, but then your sleep sucks, that's what you get. You're gonna be tired, you're gonna be exhausted during the day, your workouts are not going to be as effective as if you were in a much better state, much better energized self. So getting, first of all, a good amount of sleep is super important, and then the quality of that sleep, that's another thing. It has to be like, you have to get into like a nice deep state of sleep, so that way you recharge your body and then you wake up energized and ready to tackle the day. And then of course, falling asleep, that's another thing, because sometimes people can spend an hour or two just tossing and turning and like struggling with actually falling asleep. That happens to me a lot, especially like when I go through my insomnia phases, so I can definitely relate. So why is sleeping well important? Well, first of all, studies have shown that getting a good amount of sleep and getting good quality sleep improves concentration, productivity, and cognition. So it stimulates the brain and ultimately improves your productivity and concentration. When a person doesn't sleep well, it can also interfere with its body's ability to properly regulate calorie and food intake. I'm sure you noticed before that like if you end up staying late at night, you start getting hungry because you want to munch on something, because ultimately your body's up and it needs some energy to stay up. So that's why I got these comments where people ask me, oh, what are like best late night snacks or whatever the case. And honestly, to be honest with you guys, I really want the best for you. I do not recommend reaching for those late night snacks because again, your body at that hour, if it's past midnight especially, your body is trying to unwind. It's time for you to go to sleep. It's not time for you to eat anything because ultimately food equals fuel. You are basically giving your body fuel to keep going, to like stay up, you know? And if that's not your goal, if you don't need to be staying up late at night, if you're not working on anything or your hours aren't, you know what I'm saying? Like if your work is not related to those late night hours where you don't basically need to stay up late, then you should not be worrying about putting anything in your body. You should only be focusing on trying to unwind and go to sleep and relax. Because also when you are asleep, your body releases certain hormones that help you lose that belly fat when you wake up. I'm not gonna go into like the rabbit hole and explain how exactly it works, but getting into a deep sleep is very important, and getting an adequate amount of sleep is super important for that specific benefit to occur. Getting adequate sleep also leads to reducing the inflammation in the body, so that's another thing that helps you wake up leaner than you were before. Ultimately, sleep helps the body to repair, regenerate, and recover. It is an essential thing that ties all of your health and fitness efforts together, and if you forget about this component, everything else will just fall apart. That's like the glue of everything that you're doing, and therefore it should never be neglected. I know a lot of people may think, oh, you know, just sleep, like whatever. But really guys, I'm sure you've noticed your overall level of energy and productivity and how you felt after like getting a good night's sleep, and the opposite of that if you did not get a good night's sleep. You know, I have certainly felt that before and it was not fun. And a lot of the times if I have like an important project coming up, I really need to make sure to get those 8 hours of sleep and like really get a good night sleep and rest ultimately, because otherwise it's gonna be a struggle for me to complete that task or whatever the case like I needed to work on. Like, so yeah, muy importante. Immune system is also no exception in this entire relationship. Obviously, like with a good quality sleep, it helps the body fight off infections, and it's just, yeah, I mean, I can go on and on and on of how important not only just sleep in general is, but the quality of it, the length of it, and the amount of it that you get is everything. Your sleep position plays a major role in the quality of sleep that you get. So it might be time for you to switch things up a bit. Different sleep positions have different benefits. So if you are somebody that struggles with pain or other health issues, you might want to change up your sleep position in order to help manage it. And while it might not be something that you can do in one night, it can definitely be worth trying out. Taking the time to train yourself to sleep in a new position could be the secret to improving your sleep quality. However, if that's something that you are uncomfortable with, don't stress about it. What you can do is you can modify your favorite sleeping position to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. Every individual is different. What's more important is you doing what works for your body and your sleeping needs. So now let's dive into sleeping positions, and make sure to watch till the end because I'm going to reveal the best one out of 4 that I'm going to demo for you right now that works best for losing belly fat. Let's go. The baby or fetal position is one of the most popular ones, and it's actually my own favorite. It is where you sleep on your side and your legs curl up underneath you. So it can be like this or like this, you know, whatever version works best for you. This position has loads of benefits. It is really good for lower back pain or pregnancy. It also fixes snoring, but unfortunately this position has a few downsides too. You'll have to make sure that your posture is relatively loose while laying in this position because it might hinder the deep breathing when you're sleeping. Also, if you have any issues with joint pain or stiffness, sleeping in a tight fetal position might leave you sore in the morning, so you gotta watch out for that. Here's a sleeping tip. If you want to make a fetal position more comfortable for you, what doctors suggest is getting another pillow and putting it between your legs. So kind of like this. Resting your arms. Next, I have sleeping flat on your back. And this sleeping position offers the most health benefits.
Not only does it make it easier to protect your spine, it can also help relieve hip and knee pain. Sleeping on your back uses gravity to keep your body in an even alignment over your spine, which can help reduce any unnecessary pressure on your back or joints.
Plus, if you're worried about your skin looking fresh, sleeping on your back protects it from any pillow or gravity-induced wrinkles. On the flip side, sleeping on your back can be challenging and difficult for somebody who struggles with snoring, for example. And if you have back pain, that can be an issue too, which means you would have to make sure that you're really nicely supported. And of course, here's a sleeping tip. If you like sleeping on your back, make sure to have a pillow behind your knees and resting like this, so that way it reduces back pain and relieves pressure on your spine.
An extra pillow also works great in case you are congested to make breathing easier.
Next up is sleeping on your stomach.
If they could rank sleeping positions, lying on your stomach would probably be at the bottom of the list. While it's a good position for snoring or sleep apnea, the benefits don't really extend much further than that. Unfortunately, sleeping on your stomach can cause both neck and back pain. It can also add a lot of unnecessary strain to your muscles and joints, which is why you might be waking up sore and tired.
And of course, here's a sleeping tip. So to make this position better, try sleeping with a thin pillow or with no pillow at all to reduce any added stress on your neck. You can also try to slip a thin pillow underneath your pelvis to reduce lower back pain. As it turns out, sleeping on your side is actually pretty good for you, especially if you're sleeping on your left side. Just for the purposes of this clip, I'll just rest on my right side, but just remember, sleeping on your left side is really good for digestion and can reduce heartburn, and is proven to be really good for reducing belly fat. Why? I'm gonna get into it in just a second, but resting on your side not only is good to eliminate snoring, but it's also great for digestion and, heartburn, just like I mentioned.
On the other hand, sleeping in this position may not always be the best. Not only can cause stiffness in your shoulders, it can also lead to jaw tightness on that side.
So if you prefer sleeping on your side, make sure to get a good pillow to avoid neck and back pain. Yeah, so like I mentioned before, the best sleeping position to lose belly fat is exactly lying on your left side. That's what doctors recommend, and they explain it with the position of your stomach, that it's also on the left side and that it's easier, like it doesn't create any pressure for it to digest food. Given the fact that you are not actually eating anything before bed, that's also key. But obviously if you eat something, it's gonna be like the best position for you to take, because it'll just create a much better transition for food. But honestly, what I noticed for myself, you can test it out for yourself, but for me, what I noticed is I usually tend to gravitate towards the fetal position, and I always put I roll up this thing, so that way it's kind of create a silhouette or like a log that I can rest my leg on. And depending on whatever side, it doesn't really matter, but I do find that lying in a fetal position on my left side and doing it with my right, like resting my right leg on the thing, like for example, and just rest my leg like this. This position actually makes it really comfortable for me to fall asleep for some reason. So yeah, definitely, whether or not like it's a fetal sleeping position that you're getting comfy into, or just being on your side and being on the left side. Just being on the left side, just remember the keyword left side, and it should help you with your belly fat issues. To be quite honest with you, when I was doing my research about this, there really is no clear evidence of what position is best for losing belly fat per se. Just the things that you have to watch out for before bed leading up to you falling asleep is what's actually important, and I'm going to get into those in just a second. But yeah, I think it just comes down to what is the most comfortable position for you individually, specifically what you like, and kind of just modifying it to your liking, and yeah, and just watching out for these digestion tips that I'm about to get into, and you'll be all set. I'm sure I mentioned it before, but I'm going to say it again. Make sure to avoid big meals before bed. Don't eat 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, and stick with water or seltzer if you are really, craving something and it's late at night and you are definitely not getting outside, or you don't really need energy for anything else but trying to fall asleep. And of course, avoid excess caffeine 6 hours before going to bed. That's also very important. If you do choose to drink either coffee or tea, make sure that it's decaf. We spend roughly 1/3 of our lives sleeping or trying to fall asleep. Your sleeping position matters a lot more than you might think. If you're having trouble falling asleep or having trouble sleeping, your health can suffer. Plus, sleep deprivation is a lot more than getting good amount of sleep. Sleep quality matters too, and that's why we today covered all these sleeping positions and how to improve them to get the most out of them. If you don't feel rested when you wake up, try practicing good sleeping habits and incorporating all these tips that I outlined for you in this video. They should definitely help. It can definitely boost your sleep quality in a big way, and you are going to thank me for sure. Remember, you don't have to change your sleep position if you aren't having any issues. Do what feels best for you. The most important thing is to make sure that you're waking up rested and ready to go. Okay, my loves, this wraps up my video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and it helped you in some kind of shape or form. Of course, if you're not part of the Foxy family yet, make sure to subscribe. And one last thing before I let you guys go, make sure to look into adding some breathing exercises and routines or bedtime yoga to your sleeping hygiene. It is greatly going to benefit you with falling asleep, and of course with the quality of your sleep, because it's going to stop that monkey brain from creating that unnecessary chatter in your head. I'm going to link them right here on the screen for you. And on that note, I hope you have an amazing sleep and amazing night. And of course, I will see you in my next video.